Hello. I'd like to welcome you back for a few coloring tips and to talk about this week's coloring challenge. I'm Annina. This week's coloring challenge, you can find it on the website of the Society of Illustrators, which is in New York City, societyillustrators.org. Go right to the page and it will say there, coloring pages from our permanent collection. And they have a really good assortment, all from their permanent collection, which is very impressive. It's over 2,500 illustrations, current and back from the golden age of illustration, when all the magazines were being illustrated and so on. And actually, the coloring challenge for this week comes from a magazine. I think it's Cosmopolitan. And here it is. I picked it because it is Acapulco. It's fun, summery. In fact, it was an ad for, I think, American Airlines. And it says here, spring never leaves Acapulco and you'll never want to. And this is drawn by Alfred Charles Parker, who lived from 1906 to 1985. And he was known as the Dean of Illustrators. He had many, many different styles. And I was very interested to Google him and learn about some of his other things that he created. This one is the challenge. So the first question that comes up for me is, do I want to look at the original? The original is in color. So, and that's always something that you can think about with coloring if you're doing an old master or something for which there is already an original in color. Do you want to see it? Do you want to copy it? That can be really fun, to exactly copy what the artist already did or the illustrator. So I've been thinking about it and finally, for a couple days, and finally I did Google it this morning and I did see it and I was shocked. I have to say, totally surprised by what he did, especially with the bathing suit. And I'm not going to show it to you right now. Maybe on Thursday when we unveil it, all the different ones, we'll take a look at the original. But I have to say, I was really surprised. For me, I did print out three or four black and whites of the illustration, so I could play around. And I think I will do one in the original, just for fun, because it teaches you something. It's like, oh, okay, he picked that for that reason, so and so on. But I just decided to go wild for my first one. And that's what I want to talk a little bit about today, because it led me to think, oh, I had to do a few things, and I can give you a few tips on what I had to do. So I decided to go with glitter for the bathing suit. I had a bunch of packs that I got from the dollar store. You can't probably see it too fantastically, but this is it. And I had 3 different colors of glitter, and I wanted to do the bathing cap. And I also decided right away I wanted to give her dark skin, because I could see this really bright yellow, almost green hair, like if you've been in chlorine too much and your hair gets kind of green, that kind of thing I was thinking about. But also the glitter. The thing with the glitter is I'm not that talented at manipulating it. So I just put glue on and then I shook it on, shook it off, let it dry. But I didn't get all the patches. You can especially see it, I think, with the bathing cap. I just couldn't get into some of the nooks and crannies. Even here you can see. So I needed to fix it up this morning. So luckily I found some watercolors. They're really nice by Fine Tech. They're called pearlescent, which means they are actually just like the glitter. They've got a bit of a sheen to them. You can see I really, really like gold. And so I just went in there with the paintbrush and I was able to fix the little places where I hadn't gotten the glitter. There was still some gaps. So I went in, and by some miracle, I also happened to have exactly the same kind of colors, not exact, that I had used for the glitter. So I had like a dark gold, I had a light gold, and then I had like a rose gold. So I went in and did that. But then my next thing was the skin. And I find I do have a lot of magic markers, and I've got pencils, colored pencils, but I often have trouble with the skin tone with the markers. They do have special packs, like for manga, that have pretty good range. They've got a lot of golds, a lot of browns, a lot of pinks, and you can get a pretty good skin tone variety. But really, I think the best are pastels, crayons, colored pencils, of course, if you have those. But my favorite for skin are these pastels. They are made by a fabulous Swiss company called Caran d'Ache, and they're called Neocolor 2. They make a Neocolor 1, which is great, but the Neocolor 2 is water soluble. And this is what they look like. They're really nice. They have the color on them. This one's brown, and they have it in the 3 different languages, which is kind of cool. And what is nice too is they're very well made. They think of everything. They've got little tear strips all along with little arrows, and you can catch it with your nail and make a nice clean tear, which gives you a good base to work with, but you're still protected with the paper. That's nice. With the pastel, they can be a little messy. I think this is a nice touch. The other thing is, you notice it's a crayon, but it's not pointy. And I guess you could try and sharpen it to get it pointy, but even with some coloring like this, which is not super detailed, you're going to be able to get onto the skin quite a bit. Or if you did the sails, you did the background, but you still might not get into the corners. And if you want to make it look clean, you don't have to be too perfect, but you might want to get it into the corners. So I'm going to show you a trick of how to do that. And I also wanted to show you one other water-soluble pastel that I love. This is made by a company called Ooly, O-O-L-Y. This is a bit of a different beast, though. It is even bigger. This is heavy duty, right? And it screws up. It's really nice. But this one is going to be even harder. You might not even want to do the skin with this. You might just want to do like a sailboat. So this trick is going to work great for an even thicker pastel as well. So what you want to do is get your brush, and you want to organize your table a little bit here. You always want to have a scrap paper and a piece or two of paper towel, or a little towel, a little rag that you can have right here to blot the brush on. And you've got your little pot of water, and you dip your brush in, swish it around, blot the brush a little bit. And then what you're going to do is, this is so cool, you're going to just dab the top of this pastel and just gently, you don't want to get too drippy, to just touch the brush, get it nice and full of color, loaded up. And now you're loaded, you can put the pastel down on the towel since it's still a little wet. And I'm going to show you, you really have really nice control. You've got a nice rich color. You've got a lot of control. So you could go in, you can imagine that I could just go in and really get all those little details that I need to. Although probably to finish off the lips and the eyes, I'm going to do either like an ink pen or a marker where I'm going to really have the finer lines. But at least it gets me into the fingers, the bathing cap, all of that stuff. So I think that's a great tip if you want to use, thicker pastels, especially for skin tones. But for anything, because I mean, really, you can get a set of pastels if you really want to get crazy. You know, they've got even more colors, and actually, you can buy them individually at art stores like Blick's in Glen Cove. So anyway, I wish you good luck. Please feel free to go to the Society of Illustrators and take a look at all the other coloring pages they have as well. And I wish you happy coloring, and please stay creative. Thanks so much.